Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another review for the month of Gorror, and this time I am going to review for you a classic horror movie, a classic remake to a classic horror film, I should say. This is The Fly, which of course stars my boy Jeff Goldblum, directed by David Cronenberg, and it is a remake that I loved when I was a kid. I loved this movie so much. I didn't even see the original until a little bit later when I was maybe like 16, 17. But when I was a kid, I watched this movie when I was way too young to watch it. But it scared the hell out of me and made me sad in a way not many other horror movies could possibly do. And this movie, when I was a kid, I thought was a masterpiece. I watched it now, and me being way older, I am happy to talk to you about David Cronenberg's remake of The Fly, the 1986 remake of the 1958 The Fly, I should say. So let's talk about The Fly. The Fly. I like to say The Fly. I don't know why. The Fly. The Fly. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about The Fly. The story for The Fly, that I mentioned The Fly, I love The Fly. This one is a very simple story, but there's a reason for it, and I'll explain why it's so simple, but so good. Okay? The story here follows Seth Brundle, who is a scientist played by Jeff Goldblum, who has created a teleporter, a straight up just machine that teleports inanimate objects from point A to point B. He has two machines, the teleporter and the receiver. He teleports the thing here, and it comes out in the other machine. Perfectly great. He has successfully made the future way more accessible for someone like me. I want to go get my game or go to the movies. Oh man, I have 2 minutes to get to the next showing of Deepwater Horizon. What am I going to do? I'm here. There you go. Mark Wahlberg, he got blew up by a oil rig or whatever. No, I guess that's what happened in that movie. But this movie is not just about that. He creates this teleporter, but it can only teleport inanimate objects until he figures it out. He actually figures out how he can actually teleport things that are living with skin and stuff. He figures it out, and he teleports himself, and all seems pretty good until he figures out that he actually teleported himself with a fly. So him and the fly were both in the same teleporter, and the machine it can't figure out two different things. Like, it can only teleport one thing. So it interpreted both the fly and Jeff Goldblum as one thing. So when it teleported it to the receiver, they got fused together, and slowly but surely, he is turning into a humanoid fly. So that's the story of The Fly. I think that's pretty much the story for both flies, but you know, there you go. Now, to be fair, there is a little bit more to the plot. Like, when he teleports himself, he actually starts to become a little bit different. He actually starts to show kind of superhuman strength. He can actually like punch through walls. He breaks a dude's arm at one point without even really trying, and you could tell there's something wrong with him, his personality-wise, because he's just acting like an asshole. Before, he was like kind of like the nerdy, quiet guy. You know, him and Gina Davis actually have a relationship in this. I forgot to mention her. She's a journalist who gets brought over by Seth Brundle because he wants to show her this teleporter. And they fall in love, and you can tell there is just something wrong with him immediately. Even if you didn't see, because the movie actually shows you immediately the flies in the teleporter, and you know the title of the movie, so most likely you know something has to do with the fly. You know, something with a fly is going to happen. And even if you didn't know that there was a fly in there, you would have already known, like, yeah, there's something wrong with this guy. He's just all messed up. And it really is kind of sad to watch, because it is a deconstruction of a guy, because at first he is a really likable character. He's a scientist, he's kind of nerdy, but you know, he's still suave in his own way. He builds this relationship with Gina Davis, which really feels real. It was real enough for them to actually get married in real life for a few years. They really did, and I was very surprised to find that out. And you feel that relationship, and then when he teleports himself after he gets drunk, he says, screw it, I'll do it, it's fine, and it works. You feel happy for him until he just starts to break down, and of course he starts to turn into this fly. You know, stuff starts happening. The body horror in this movie is excellent. When he starts pulling his own teeth out and his fingernails, you're like, oh god. Arms start falling off and shit, and it's just gross. His skin starts peeling, and you see like furry kind of like fly look to him. It's really grotesque, and you really do feel bad for him. He's a great character, and you do like him. That's what makes this movie a classic. If it was just some guy you didn't give a shit about, and maybe he's played by a mediocre actor or something, you'd be like, okay, the special effects were good, but I don't really care about the character, so who cares? But at the end of the movie, you care about this character enough where when things start really going down towards the end, the last like 10 minutes of the movie, you really do feel bad. So that's why The Fly really does work. The practical effects are amazing in this. The body horror is so excellent. Probably the best use of body horror. Not saying the practical effects are better than some other movies like Videodrome or anything else directed by David Cronenberg, but the use of body horror in this is so well done because it is used to make you feel bad for a certain character, and it is well done. So The Fly, the remake, holds up perfectly. Great acting, a great relationship between Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, which you do feel. You feel bad for the character. You feel bad for that relationship when it starts to break down because he's losing his mind because he's fused with this fly DNA. It's great. It is a great film, and I highly recommend you check it out if you have not seen it yet. I'm going to give The Fly, I'm going to give it a 38 out of a 40. I think it's it's like one of the best horror movies out there. If there's anything wrong with it, I would say there's one character that is slightly annoying. He reminded me of what's his name from Die Hard, the smarmy businessman type. And that character, I don't know, he kind of annoyed me. You know, not that he's a terrible actor. He's a fine actor. That character I just got a little sick of pretty quickly. But besides that, great film. I love it. Definitely go check it out. I highly recommend it. So that's my review for The Fly 1986, directed by David Cronenberg, starring Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, and David Cronenberg. He shows up at one point. There you go. Thank you, and until next time, goodbye.